At 95, Clint Eastwood reveals, "She was the only woman who broke my heart." Born on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, Clint Eastwood entered a world very different from the Hollywood spotlight he would one day command. His early years were defined by hardship, uncertainty, and constant movement. The Great Depression was in full swing, leaving families across the nation struggling to survive. Clint's family was no exception. His father worked as a steel worker and a migrant laborer, which meant that the family had to move frequently, following opportunities wherever they arose. These early years were anything but stable. Young Clint experienced a childhood marked by change, new schools, new neighborhoods, and new communities. Each move forced him to adapt quickly, to learn how to make friends, and to find his place in unfamiliar surroundings. These experiences taught him resilience, a quiet determination to overcome obstacles, and the ability to rely on himself when circumstances seemed beyond his control. Despite the hardships, Clint's parents instilled in him a sense of responsibility and the importance of hard work. From a young age, he learned that nothing in life would be handed to him for free. Whether it was helping with odd jobs, taking on part-time work, or simply learning to navigate the challenges of a constantly shifting home environment, Clint internalized the lessons of perseverance and independence that would later become hallmarks of both his personal and professional life. Beyond work and survival, Eastwood's formative years also taught him humility. Moving often meant starting over repeatedly, and he quickly learned that no matter how talented or capable he might be, respect had to be earned, and life demanded patience and persistence. This combination of humility and determination would later define his stoic screen presence and his reputation as a man of quiet strength. It was during these years that Clint also developed a sense of observation and curiosity about human behavior. Witnessing the struggles of families, neighbors, and classmates gave him a keen awareness of people's strengths and weaknesses, a skill that would become invaluable in his acting and directing career. He learned to read subtle expressions, to sense emotion beneath the surface, and to understand the complexity of human relationships, all qualities that would later bring depth to his iconic roles. While many children growing up in the Depression were limited by circumstance, Clint found ways to dream. He became fascinated by stories of heroes and adventurers, whether in books, comics, or the few films he could watch. He imagined himself as someone who could face challenges head-on, someone capable of courage and determination. These early imaginings were not mere fantasies. They were seeds of the man he would become, resilient, resourceful, and quietly formidable. By the time Clint reached his teenage years, these formative experiences had already begun to shape his identity. He had learned the value of persistence, the importance of self-reliance, and the strength that comes from enduring hardship without complaint. Every move, every challenge, every moment of uncertainty had added layers to his character, preparing him for the demanding journey that lay ahead in Hollywood. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below, and let's see how far Eastwood's legacy reaches. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the lives of Hollywood's most fascinating icons. In essence, Clint Eastwood's early years were a masterclass in resilience and adaptability. The struggles of childhood, combined with the lessons learned from constant change and responsibility, laid the foundation for the legendary career and enduring persona that audiences would come to know. These years instilled in him the traits that would define both the man and the icon: perseverance, humility, independence, and an unwavering work ethic that would carry him from the streets of Depression-era California to the heights of international stardom. Clint Eastwood's journey from a resilient child in Depression-era California to a familiar face on television screens began in the late 1950s. After years of persistence and small roles, he landed the part that would introduce him to a broader audience: Rowdy Yates in the TV western Rawhide, which aired from 1959 to 1965. For many, this role was the first glimpse of the quiet, rugged charisma that would later define Eastwood's legendary career. Rawhide was more than just a television show. It was an intense training ground for a young actor. The series followed the lives of cattle drivers traveling across the American West, facing unpredictable weather, dangerous wildlife, and constant threats from outlaws. For Eastwood, playing Rowdy Yates required discipline, long hours, and the ability to convey depth with minimal dialogue. His character, a young and determined cowhand, demanded toughness, resourcefulness, and a hint of vulnerability, a combination that Clint embodied naturally, perhaps drawing from the lessons of his own challenging upbringing. The role also demanded physical stamina. Filming in rugged outdoor locations, often on horseback or in harsh weather conditions, Eastwood learned to endure the grueling demands of a television production schedule. Every day on set was an exercise in patience, resilience, and focus, qualities he had honed as a child moving from town to town, adapting to new circumstances. His performance reflected not only his growing skill as an actor, but also the quiet intensity that would later make him a cinematic icon. It was during Rawhide that Eastwood began to understand the power of presence on screen. While other actors relied heavily on dialogue and flamboyance, Clint's strength was subtlety. He conveyed emotion through a glance, a tilt of the head, or a carefully timed pause. This understated style drew audiences in, making them notice the depth beneath his stoic exterior. In many ways, this early experience shaped the persona that would later captivate international audiences in the spaghetti westerns of the 1960s. Beyond the technical skills, Rawhide also gave Eastwood his first taste of public recognition. Fans began to notice the young actor with the calm, intense gaze and the unspoken authority that seemed to emanate from every scene. Letters from viewers, invitations to events, and growing media attention gave him a sense of the reach and responsibility of fame. It was here that Clint first glimpsed the transformative power of Hollywood, realizing that acting could be both a craft and a platform. However, Eastwood remained grounded. Even with the rising attention, he maintained the work ethic and humility instilled in him during his formative years. He approached every scene with dedication, often going beyond what was required to ensure authenticity in his performance. This combination of talent, discipline, and professionalism began to set him apart from his peers and laid the foundation for the international stardom that was just around the corner. By the time Rawhide ended in 1965, Eastwood had not only become a recognizable figure in American households, but had also cultivated the skills, confidence, and screen presence that would propel him into the international spotlight. His early television work had transformed him from a struggling actor into a seasoned performer, ready to take on roles that would define an era and reshape the Western genre forever. By the mid-1960s, Clint Eastwood was ready for a leap that would transform him from a television star into an international film icon. That opportunity came through an unexpected partnership with Italian director Sergio Leone. Together, they created what would become known as the Dollars Trilogy, a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. These films did more than entertain. They redefined the Western genre and introduced the world to Eastwood's legendary persona, the man with no name. Eastwood's character in these films was unlike anything audiences had seen before. He was stoic yet magnetic, silent yet powerful, a man whose reputation spoke louder than words. The man with no name was morally ambiguous, walking a fine line between hero and anti-hero, often driven by his own code rather than society's rules. This complexity, paired with Eastwood's subtle, intense performance, gave the character a depth that made him unforgettable. The production of these spaghetti westerns was far from conventional. Filmed in the rugged landscapes of Italy and Spain, the shoots were physically demanding, often under the scorching sun and in harsh terrain. Eastwood, already hardened by years of television filming and a resilient upbringing, thrived under these conditions. The grueling environment allowed him to channel a quiet toughness into his performance, blending realism with a sense of mystery that audiences found irresistible. Sergio Leone's direction emphasized long silences, tense standoffs, and extreme close-ups that captured every flicker of emotion. Eastwood's restrained acting was perfect for this approach. Every glance, every twitch of his face carried meaning. The films relied on his presence as much as dialogue, making his character's charisma feel natural and unforced. It was here, that Eastwood learned the power of understatement, a technique that would become a hallmark of his later roles. The impact of the Dollars trilogy on cinema was monumental. It introduced a grittier, more realistic take on the Old West, contrasting sharply with the polished, idealized cowboys of earlier American films. Violence was depicted with weight and consequence, morality was shaded in gray, and the hero was no longer a flawless figure. Eastwood, with his calm yet commanding demeanor, became the embodiment of this new vision, a hero shaped as much by circumstance as by choice. International audiences were captivated. Eastwood's name began to travel far beyond the United States, and his image, the poncho, the cigar, the steely gaze, became instantly recognizable. The trilogy didn't just elevate Eastwood's career, it cemented his status as a cultural icon. Critics and fans alike praised the films for their innovative style, storytelling, and Eastwood's compelling performance, recognizing that a new, kind of Western hero had arrived on the global stage. By the end of the trilogy, Clint Eastwood was no longer simply a television actor or a promising young talent. He was a force in world cinema. His collaboration with Leone had shown that he could carry a film not just with charm, but with presence, intensity, and a depth that resonated across cultures. The Man with No Name became more than a character. It became a symbol of toughness, independence, and quiet authority, traits that would define Eastwood's career for decades to come. The success of these films also opened doors for Eastwood in Hollywood, proving that he could transition from small-screen fame to international stardom. It was the beginning of a journey that would see him redefine genres, become a celebrated director, and leave an indelible mark on cinematic history. The Dollars trilogy was not just a breakthrough, it was the launchpad for a legendary career. By the 1970s, Clint Eastwood had already achieved international fame through his work in spaghetti westerns, but he was about to redefine himself. Once again, Hollywood was changing. Audiences were looking for heroes who reflected the uncertainties and complexities of contemporary society. Into this landscape, Eastwood introduced one of his most enduring characters, Dirty Harry Callahan, the hard-edged San Francisco police inspector who played by his own rules. Dirty Harry was more than a cop. He was a symbol. He operated outside the strict confines of bureaucracy, confronting criminals with a combination of intelligence, determination, and sheer force of will. Eastwood brought his trademark stoicism and intensity to the role, portraying a man whose moral code was absolute, even when it conflicted with the law. His presence on screen demanded attention. Every glare, every measured movement, every line delivered with cold precision left audiences riveted. The timing of Dirty Harry's debut in 1971 could not have been more perfect. America was experiencing social unrest, rising crime rates, and widespread skepticism of institutions. Citizens were looking for figures who could stand firm, who could restore order when the system seemed ineffective. Eastwood's portrayal resonated deeply with audiences, tapping into both fear and admiration. Dirty Harry became a cinematic outlet for society's anxieties, embodying the desire for justice when conventional methods seemed insufficient. The impact of the character extended far beyond box office numbers. Eastwood's Dirty Harry influenced the portrayal of action heroes for decades to come. He was not flashy or overly emotional. Instead, his strength came from quiet determination, resourcefulness, and an unyielding commitment to his mission. The character blurred the lines between hero and anti-hero, just as Eastwood had done in the Dollars trilogy, creating a new archetype in American cinema. Eastwood's mastery of the action genre was evident not just in character, but in execution. The films combined tension, suspense, and carefully choreographed action sequences, allowing audiences to experience the thrill of danger alongside the moral intensity of Harry Callahan's crusade. Eastwood's performance balanced action with nuance, showing that a strong, compelling hero could also possess intelligence, wit, and a quiet sense of justice. Outside the screen, Dirty Harry elevated Eastwood's status as a cultural icon. His image, often seen wearing a trench coat, holding a .44 Magnum, delivering unforgettable lines, became instantly recognizable. The character's influence spread beyond cinema, entering popular culture through references in television, music, and everyday conversation. Audiences admired not just the heroics, but the philosophy behind them. The idea that standing firm in one's convictions, even against a flawed system, was a virtue worth celebrating. By the mid-1970s, Clint Eastwood had firmly cemented his reputation as a tough, uncompromising action star. Dirty Harry was no longer just a character. He was a symbol of resilience, decisiveness, and moral clarity in a complex world. The role resonated across generations, capturing the imagination of viewers and solidifying Eastwood's place in cinematic history. His ability to channel strength, subtlety, and intensity into a single character demonstrated a rare mastery of the craft, one that would define his career for decades. Through Dirty Harry, Eastwood not only entertained but also reflected the societal tensions of his time, offering audiences a hero who could face challenges head-on without compromise. This phase of his career transformed him into more than a movie star. It made him an enduring figure in American culture, a man whose screen presence conveyed toughness, intelligence, and an unwavering commitment to his principles. Eastwood had become not just an actor, but a cultural touchstone, inspiring admiration, debate, and fascination around the world. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, Clint Eastwood had firmly established himself as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. But his ambitions extended far beyond performing in front of the camera. Eastwood had long been fascinated by storytelling, not just through characters, but through the craft of filmmaking itself. Transitioning into directing, he quickly proved that his talents were as formidable behind the camera as they were in front of it. One of his earliest acclaimed directorial efforts, Unforgiven in 1992, cemented his reputation as a filmmaker who could tackle complex themes with subtlety and depth. The film revisited the Western genre that had first made him famous, but this time with a mature, reflective lens. Eastwood explored the consequences of violence, the morality of revenge, and the toll of a life hardened by brutality. The movie was both a critical and commercial success, earning Eastwood Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture. Eastwood's directorial vision continued to evolve, revealing his fascination with the human condition and the moral dilemmas people face. In Mystic River, 2003, he delved into the haunting aftermath of tragedy, exploring grief, guilt, and the fragility of trust. His ability to extract nuanced performances from actors brought emotional weight to every scene, and his careful pacing allowed the story to resonate long after the credits rolled. Million Dollar Baby, 2004, further showcased Eastwood's skill in weaving together character, theme, and emotion. The film tells the story of an aspiring boxer and her determined trainer, exploring themes of perseverance, sacrifice, and the search for meaning in life. Eastwood's direction was understated, yet powerful, capturing the intimate human moments with authenticity. The film earned him his second Academy Award for Best Director and another for Best Picture, reaffirming his status as a masterful storyteller. In American Sniper, 2014, Eastwood tackled the complexities of war and the personal toll it takes on soldiers and families. His restrained, grounded approach allowed audiences to connect deeply with the protagonist's internal struggles, reflecting a broader commentary on duty, heroism, and the psychological cost of combat. Through this and other films, Eastwood demonstrated a rare ability to balance realism with cinematic storytelling, creating narratives that were both engaging and profoundly human. Beyond individual films, Eastwood's directorial career is marked by a consistent exploration of morality, redemption, and the consequences of violence. His work often presents characters facing ethical dilemmas, navigating life's ambiguities, and confronting their own limitations. This philosophical depth, combined with a minimalist, effective visual style, has earned him widespread acclaim and admiration. Over the decades, Eastwood has accumulated multiple Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and prestigious honors, including a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute. These accolades reflect not only his longevity and versatility but also his unwavering commitment to storytelling. Eastwood's films resonate because they capture the complexity of human nature, the courage, flaws, regrets, and redemption that define our shared experience. In moving from iconic on-screen roles to a visionary director, Clint Eastwood has continually challenged himself and the audience. He has proven that his legacy is not confined to the characters he portrays, but extends to the worlds he creates, the emotions he evokes, and the moral questions he poses. His directorial achievements are a testament to a career defined by artistic integrity, curiosity, and a relentless pursuit of excellence in cinema. While Clint Eastwood is celebrated worldwide for his commanding presence on screen and his brilliance behind the camera, his life beyond Hollywood reveals a man of remarkable versatility and curiosity. Eastwood has always balanced public achievement with private passions, cultivating interests that span politics, music, and environmental advocacy, all while navigating a complex personal life. In 1986, Eastwood surprised many by entering the political arena, serving as mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California, a quaint coastal town known for its artistic community. His tenure, which lasted until 1988, reflected the same traits that defined his cinematic characters: decisiveness, pragmatism, and a commitment to improving the community. As mayor, he focused on preserving Carmel's charm while addressing practical concerns like development and public infrastructure, demonstrating that his leadership extended far beyond the screen. Music has also played a significant role in Eastwood's life. A lifelong jazz enthusiast, he is an accomplished pianist and composer. His love of jazz isn't just a hobby, it informs his artistry, contributing to the rhythm and pacing of his films. From composing scores to producing music documentaries, Eastwood's engagement with music adds another layer to his multifaceted identity, revealing a creative sensibility that transcends acting and directing. Environmental advocacy is another dimension of Eastwood's personal commitments. Despite his tough guy image, he has consistently supported conservation efforts, including wildlife preservation and sustainable development. He has spoken publicly about the importance of protecting natural landscapes, reflecting a broader awareness of his responsibility as a public figure and citizen. Eastwood's personal life is equally complex and intriguing. He has fathered at least 8 children with 6 women, yet he has maintained a level of discretion that shields his family from constant public scrutiny. Despite the challenges of such a large blended family, Eastwood has remained actively involved in the lives of many of his children, some of whom have followed him into the entertainment industry. His ability to balance fame, family, and privacy speaks to his enduring resilience and adaptability. Even as he navigates these diverse roles, actor, director, politician, musician, environmental advocate, and father, Eastwood has managed to maintain a sense of quiet dignity. He approaches each aspect of his life with the same steadfastness that characterized his on-screen heroes, proving that his strength extends beyond cinematic performance into real-world responsibility and engagement. In many ways, Eastwood's multifaceted life mirrors the complexity of the characters he portrays. Just as he has played morally ambiguous anti-heroes and steadfast lawmen, his real-life persona encompasses both discipline and creativity, public engagement, and private reflection. He has cultivated a life that is rich, layered, and resilient, embodying the same principles of perseverance, independence, and integrity that made him a legend in Hollywood. Ultimately, Clint Eastwood's personal life reflects the breadth of his character and his unwavering curiosity about the world. Whether shaping a town as mayor, expressing himself through music, advocating for the environment, or nurturing his family, Eastwood demonstrates that a life well lived is as much about exploration and commitment as it is about fame. His story reminds us that even icons who dominate the screen can live lives full of depth, purpose, and humanity. Clint Eastwood's personal life has always been as layered and compelling as the characters he portrays on screen. His romantic relationships, in particular, reveal a complex, often private side of a man whose public persona is associated with toughness and independence. Eastwood's love life spans decades, marked by passion, discretion, and a sometimes unconventional approach to family. In 1953, Eastwood married Maggie Johnson, a union that would last over 3 decades and produce 2 children, Kyle and Allison. Despite the stability of this early marriage, Eastwood's rising fame and evolving personal desires led to challenges, including extramarital affairs that eventually resulted in the couple's divorce in 1984. Even so, Eastwood maintained a connection with Maggie and his children from this marriage, balancing the complexities of family life with the demands of a high-profile career. Parallel to his marriage, Eastwood engaged in several long-term relationships. Roxanne Tunis became the mother of his daughter Kimber, adding another layer to his expanding family. Sandra Lockach, a significant figure in his life, bore him children, and served as a long-term muse, influencing both his personal and creative worlds. Jocelyn Reeves and Frances Fisher also became mothers to his children, Scott, Catherine, and Francesca, further demonstrating Eastwood's role as a father across multiple households. In later years, Eastwood found love with Dana Ruiz, who gave birth to his youngest daughter, Morgan. Despite the intricacies and challenges of a life filled with multiple relationships, Eastwood has generally kept these dynamics private, allowing his family members to live outside constant public scrutiny. His approach reflects a careful balance, a willingness to form meaningful connections while preserving discretion and protecting those he loves. What makes Eastwood's romantic life particularly intriguing is the way it mirrors his on-screen persona. Much like his characters, he navigates life with a blend of independence, intensity, and commitment to his principles, even in the realm of love. While he has faced the complexities and consequences of multiple relationships, he has also demonstrated dedication to his children and partners, maintaining bonds that span decades. Through all these relationships, Eastwood has shown a capacity for both passion and responsibility. His romantic life is not just a collection of high-profile affairs, but a reflection of a man navigating love, family, and personal fulfillment while under the public gaze. It demonstrates the human side of a figure often perceived solely as a Hollywood legend or cultural icon, revealing a man capable of love, loyalty, and complexity. Ultimately, Clint Eastwood's romantic relationships paint a picture of a man who embraces life in its full spectrum, its joys, challenges, and responsibilities. They offer a glimpse into the private world of a man whose life has always been rich with experience, emotion, and connection, reminding audiences that even legends face the intricacies of love and family, just like anyone else. Among Clint Eastwood's many romantic relationships, his connection with Sandra Lockach stands out as particularly intense and transformative. They first met in 1975, a time when Eastwood was already a major Hollywood star, celebrated for his iconic roles and burgeoning directorial career. What began as a passionate romance quickly evolved into a partnership that profoundly influenced both his personal life and creative endeavors. Lockach was more than just a companion. She was a muse, collaborator, and intellectual equal in many ways. Their relationship was marked by artistic collaboration, shared ambitions, and emotional intensity. Eastwood himself has described her as the only woman who truly challenged him, pushing him to confront aspects of himself and his life that few others dared to. This dynamic brought out both the best and the most vulnerable sides of Eastwood, deepening his understanding of relationships, trust, and human complexity. However, their 13-year relationship was far from smooth. It was characterized by turbulence, passion, and occasional conflict. The highs of creative collaboration and emotional intimacy were counterbalanced by the lows of personal disagreements, legal disputes, and public scrutiny. Their eventual breakup was painful, involving lawsuits and media attention that cast a spotlight on their private struggles. Despite the difficulties, the relationship left an indelible mark on Eastwood, shaping not only his personal growth but also the depth and nuance of his later creative work. Lockach's influence on Eastwood extended into his professional life. The intensity of their connection fueled some of his most thoughtful artistic decisions and may have inspired the emotional realism for which his films are known. Eastwood has openly acknowledged the enduring emotional impact she had on him, suggesting that her presence, and the eventual loss of it, left a lasting scar that shaped his understanding of love, vulnerability, and human connection. Their story exemplifies the complexities of intimacy and the interplay between personal relationships and professional life. For Eastwood, Lockach was both a profound source of inspiration and a reminder of the challenges inherent in love. The relationship highlights a side of Eastwood rarely seen by the public, a man capable of deep emotion, intense loyalty, and reflective introspection, even amid turmoil and heartbreak. Ultimately, the legacy of Eastwood's relationship with Sandra Lockach is one of profound emotional growth. It underscores that even someone as iconic and seemingly unshakable as Clint Eastwood has experienced love that challenges, transforms, and leaves an enduring mark on the heart. Her influence remains a quiet but significant part of his life story, shaping both the man and the artist we continue to admire today. Even a legend like Clint Eastwood, known for his stoic, tough guy persona on screen, is not immune to the profound effects of love and heartbreak. At the remarkable age of 95, Eastwood offered a rare glimpse into his emotional world, reflecting openly on the impact Sandra Lockach had on his life. He admitted, with uncharacteristic vulnerability, "She was the only one who could do that, to me." For decades, Eastwood has been celebrated for his cinematic achievements, an enduring career spanning more than 7 decades, multiple Academy Awards, Golden Globes, and countless iconic performances. Yet, behind the public accolades and professional successes lies a deeply human experience of love, loss, and emotional turbulence that no amount of fame can erase. His acknowledgement of Lockach's lasting impact reveals that even a man accustomed to control and resilience can be profoundly affected by intimacy and heartbreak. Eastwood described feelings of paralysis and heartbreak that lingered long after their 13-year relationship ended. The intensity of the emotional bond they shared left an imprint that no professional triumph could overshadow. This admission challenges the public perception of Eastwood as merely a strong, unflinching figure. It highlights a side of him that is tender, reflective, and profoundly human, a side that experiences vulnerability as deeply as anyone else. His reflections at 95 also offer insight into the enduring power of meaningful relationships. Despite decades of other romances, family life, and professional accomplishments, it was Lockach's influence that remained uniquely impactful. It serves as a reminder that emotional connections can transcend time, leaving marks that shape a person's inner life in ways fame, wealth, and career success cannot replicate. In sharing this vulnerability, Eastwood not only honors the significance of Lockach in his life, but also models a rare openness for someone of his stature. He demonstrates that emotional honesty, even late in life, is not a weakness, but a profound acknowledgement of human complexity. By admitting the depth of his heartbreak, he provides a glimpse into the interplay between love, loss, and personal growth, showing that vulnerability is an essential part of living fully. Ultimately, Eastwood's reflections at 95 complete the arc of his personal narrative, revealing a man who, despite legendary toughness and professional mastery, has experienced love and heartbreak in ways that have deeply shaped his heart and soul. His story reminds us that emotional impact often outlasts accolades, and that even icons carry private scars and cherished memories that define their humanity. Clint Eastwood's story is more than a chronicle of Hollywood's success. It is a testament to the interplay between professional triumph, personal reinvention, and profound human vulnerability. Across decades, he has built an extraordinary career, captivating audiences worldwide with his stoic, unforgettable characters. From the iconic Man with No Name in Sergio Leone's westerns to the relentless lawman Dirty Harry, Eastwood became the embodiment of toughness, precision, and unshakable resolve. Yet beneath the legendary screen persona lies a man whose life has been deeply shaped by relationships, emotional struggles, and personal introspection. The revelations about his bond with Sandra Lockach, the heartbreaks he endured, and the vulnerabilities he expressed even at age 95 remind us that Eastwood is as human as the characters he portrays. Fame, accolades, and cinematic genius cannot erase the emotional imprints of love and loss. Instead, these experiences have informed his artistry, infusing his films with moral complexity, authenticity, and a subtle sensitivity often overlooked by audiences. Eastwood's enduring legacy is therefore twofold. It lies in his contributions to film and culture, and it lies in the emotional truth he embodies. He redefined genres, challenged audiences, and inspired countless actors and directors, all while navigating the intricate web of private relationships and personal evolution. His life demonstrates that true resilience does not mean invulnerability. It means embracing both strength and vulnerability, publicly and privately, with integrity and honesty. By openly acknowledging the profound influence of love, heartbreak, and personal connection, Eastwood teaches a timeless lesson. Even figures who seem untouchable or mythic are shaped by intimate, often hidden, human experiences. His legacy is a bridge between the larger-than-life persona of Hollywood legend and the enduring truths of the human heart, reminding us that success, artistry, and emotional depth can coexist in a single remarkable life. In the end, Clint Eastwood stands as a figure who has mastered reinvention, artistic expression, and personal growth. His story is a celebration of cinematic innovation, a meditation on the complexities of love and vulnerability, and a reflection of a life lived fully, passionately, and authentically. Eastwood's journey leaves audiences not just inspired by his achievements but moved by the human depth behind the myth, a legacy that will continue to resonate for generations to come. And that's the incredible journey of Clint Eastwood, a man whose talent, resilience, and emotional depth have left an indelible mark on film and culture. His story reminds us that even legends carry personal struggles, cherished memories, and lessons that shape who they are. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below and let's see how far Eastwood's legacy reaches. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the lives of Hollywood's most fascinating icons.